Welcome back for episode 105 of Count Me In, IMA's podcast about all things affecting the accounting and finance world. I'm your host, Mitch Rochon, and today's episode features cybersecurity and digital transformation expert Roland Najem. Roland is founder and CEO of RevoTips Expert Tech Consultants and Solutions. In this episode, my co-host Ruba dives in to better understand the evolution of cybersecurity, including the risk areas and how finance and accounting professionals can better enhance digital safety measures across their organizations. Keep listening as we head over to the conversation now.
You're a cybersecurity expert in the region, and you have been one for many years. What does the work that you do entail?
Well, basically, the most important thing that me on a personal level I should work on is being up to date on daily basis. And I really mean it on daily basis because sometimes for me on a personal level, I have at least, for example, minimum 3 to 4 hours readings per day. And I have to stay up to date with all technology related issues about products, solutions, all type of technology related news and cyber attacks happened worldwide and so on. So because we always learn from case study happened worldwide. Moreover, I have to stay up to date with all governance issue about new laws, new regulations, because also those rules and regulations are being up to date also kind of on daily basis. And we have, let's say, GDPR in Europe. We have several rules and regulations here in the region. So we must follow those guidance as there will be, for example, in GDPR, if you don't follow the guidance and rules and regulation, you will have fines 10 million euro, 20 million euro, and so on. Moreover, when it comes to cybersecurity, it's not only about the technical know-how of each person. What any company will look for when they are working with a certain cybersecurity company or consultant, they will look first for the personal know-how. They will look first for as a company reputation and brand name, and they look for the personal reputation of each individual who is going to work in cybersecurity. Because when you are working on cybersecurity, sometimes when doing, let's say, penetration testing and so on, so you might have access to very confidential data and so on. So for other companies, they will need to make sure that they have full trust in the company and each individual working on the project. Plus, we all know that working in the GCC region is really challenging because you are working with different type of culture, society within one company, within one country. So you are working with different culture, different society, different mentality. You are working in different industries like government, oil and gas, banking, startup, everything. So you need to be aligned with all type of cultures and societies in order to understand their needs and their requirements and how they think and how they perceive things. So actually, it's kind of hectic to be combined, and I'll combine all those together and to stay up to date with them. But actually, this is what makes, let's say, the things different, and this is what gives me added value in this industry.
No, that's quite a task that you have on hand. When we look at the Middle East and Africa cybersecurity market, I mean, it's witnessed some tremendous growth over the last few years, more than a decade even, and it's projected to grow even further from an estimated 15.6 billion in 2020 to 29.9 billion in 2025, and the compound annual growth rate is 13.8, which is exponential, and this is based on the post-COVID scenario forecast. Now, the lion's share really goes to Saudi Arabia and the UAE and some parts of Africa when you look at these figures. But what are some of the most notable initiatives that are taking place in the region?
Well, this is a very important question. Based on what you said and the growth of everything regarding to cybersecurity in terms of spending, nowadays, lots of government-related issues and new rules and regulations, they are forcing by law each company, especially when I'm talking about big companies that have billions of dollars, to have at least 3 cybersecurity providers. Because we all know that when it comes to cybersecurity, there is no, let's say, 1 + 1 = 2. It's not that simple. So you need to have 3 different providers, 3 different companies that are working cybersecurity for you. Because We all know there is nothing called 100% security, and no company can be 100% secure all the time. If you are currently secured, you are secured, let's say, up to 70, 80% maximum, and so on. So there are still gaps. That's why they ask to have multiple companies and different providers. And this is what makes the industry, let's say, growing up so fast, because for each company, you need at least 3 companies for cybersecurity. This is number one. Number two, a few days back in UAE, the Council of Ministers formed a Council for Cybersecurity, which shows clearly the importance nowadays for everything regarding cybersecurity. Because let's say sometimes now we are talking about World War III, we are talking about the cyber war, not the normal wars that like World War I and World War II. So we are talking about the cyber war, and we all know that everything is happening between let's say North Korea and Iran and Saudi Arabia and USA and so on. And when we are talking about cyber war, it doesn't come only with what we call, let's say, about only just hacking and cyber attacks and so on. It's all sometimes about data. And we all know, for example, what happened between Donald Trump and TikTok is a big fight. And most of the big part of it was political and part of it was economic. But the biggest part is about the data, where we are going to store the data and how we are going to store it somewhere. So another initiative is in Saudi Arabia. They have what we call National Security Authority, where you can, for example, if you are under attack or you had an attack, you can claim directly online, and they will support you in many ways. Here in Kuwait, since I'm based in Kuwait, we have 2 laws. We have e-media law and we have cyber laws, everything, cyber crime law, and so on. So the biggest challenge, and here I think, is how we can join all those laws with international laws in order to be aware of all the laws and regulations worldwide, in order to try to make awareness and create awareness for everyone. Because let me give you an example. Let's say in UAE or Kuwait or whatever, they have lots of European people. So if you are working with a European person, you have to follow also GDPR, even if you are in Kuwait or UAE or whatever. So those initiatives done by the government here, they are trying to help people understand more, have people and companies understanding more cybersecurity, support them by putting guidelines, not only laws and regulations, putting guidelines, because currently for lots of people, cybersecurity is still kind of new. Okay, we are under attack. What should we do? What is the next process? And again, here I'm going to mention something very important, that cybersecurity is not a pure technical issue. So let's say when you are under attack, you should not only solve the technical part, for example, you should also know how you should address to the press, to people, how you should put a legal case against the hacker, what you should do with the government, and so on and so on. So it's kind of a complicated issue.
Yeah, I mean, from the looks of it, and I mean, if you look at this region, they're very eager to enable economic diversity. And so markets like UAE and Saudi Arabia, where, as you said, there's been a tremendous amount of investment towards technology and the adoption of transformative digital technologies, to be specific. I mean, they've been some of the highest in the world. You have the highest mobile penetration here. You have a massive penetration of internet, IoT, cloud. So successful examples that are mind-blowing. You have Emirates National Bank of Dubai, one of the leading banks in the region. They've invested more than $1 billion on digital transformation. But this amazing transition has opened up a new gateway for global cyber attacks. Where does the Middle East stand relative to other regions in terms of both rates of cybersecurity, cyber attacks, and back-end preparation?
Well, basically, what you said is very important. I will give you a similar example, but in a different way here in Kuwait. We had the Gulf Bank here in Kuwait a few months back. They got hacked, and hackers stole like 20 million KD, which is around $66 million. And after maybe a few weeks, they were able to get some of them, and by the end of the whole case, there was a shortage of $3 to $4 million. So actually, when you are investing on cybersecurity, you are not just you are investing in digital transformation. You have also to invest a big amount on cybersecurity, because again, if you don't invest, you are going to lose them through cyber attacks and so on. And I'm going to mention something very important here in the GCC region. And actually, it started to happen in a very speed way after COVID-19, which is the nationalization for all locals. For example, we all know about Kuwaitization, Saudization, and so on and so on. So I totally understand this aspect because every country they are trying to give more, let's say, advantage for locals over expats and so on and so on. But the main question that we should ask is that are the locals in any country, regardless of the country, are they ready to handle such a critical position as a CISO or let's say CIO or some key position in any company like banking or oil and gas and so on, to be able to cover all the cybersecurity threats and technical issues? This is the biggest concern. So, for example, in Kuwait, before COVID-19, there was about 1.3 million local Kuwaiti and around 3.3 million expats. Sorry. So now, until now, the 3.3 million expats, they went down to 2.6. And lots of companies, they are disinvesting in, let's say, instead of paying big salaries for experts who are handling critical position, they are, sorry, they are firing them. So that's why we are having a big problem here, that there are some people who are not, let's say, between brackets, qualified to handle such positions. They are handling key positions in banking, oil and gas, and so on. So I think this is the biggest challenge here in the region, and they should take actions immediately in order, let's say, if you want to make localization and let people work from the local company, it's great, it's amazing, but you have to set your people ready and do the proper training for them in order to be able to handle such key positions.
Absolutely. You deal with C-level leaders all the time. And though it's taken, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, that it's taken a while for everyone to take the whole threat of cybersecurity a bit more seriously. And that this has been kind of common also amongst family businesses in the region, which are a huge part of the economy. So has it been really difficult, first of all, to convince them about the whole concept of cybersecurity? And have you had to drop some of the stats, which to me are convincing for anyone relatively? Like, for example, if you take the fact that 80% of organizations in the UAE, for example, reported at least one cyber attack in 2019, that's pre-COVID, and we will get to the post-COVID era or during COVID. But how do the professionals that you deal with perceive the whole impact, even the viability of such a threat like cybersecurity? Do they take it seriously, or do you have to make the case for them?
Well, actually, I'll tell you something. In cybersecurity, you are either hacked and you know, or you are hacked and you don't know. But in all cases, you are already hacked. So this is, again, based on the fact that there's nothing called 100% security. But what you mentioned about also the family business is really critical, because one of the biggest challenge here is when dealing with the people's mentality, especially the C-levels and decision makers of the companies. One of the biggest challenges, I will say several challenges and how we can deal with them. One of the biggest challenges is when people tell us that, okay, Oracle got hacked, Microsoft got hacked, Pentagon got hacked, White House got hacked. So even my company can be hacked easily, and there's no shame in this. So we don't have any problem. So I don't want to invest in cybersecurity. This is one biggest challenge. Another biggest challenge is that most of the, let's say, C-levels, they will say, I'm the big boss, I should have access to everything, I should have all usernames and passwords and so on, regardless if I know how to store them, regardless if I know how to use them and so on, which make things very critical for someone to have a very critical information and access to a certain service or whatever without knowing how to store them and how to protect them. And the third and biggest problem that we have nowadays is that when you go to meet certain company or whatever, or some executive level CEO or whatever, he will start by asking you, okay, what do you have solution for cybersecurity? Again, it's like you are going to the doctor and tell him, what do you have medicine for me? So cybersecurity, it's not about, there is no solution fits all. And we cannot say that, for example, okay, yeah, for most of those companies, this is the best solution.
I think the vulnerabilities are different, right? I mean, the vulnerabilities of each company and their operation differ.
Everything is different. Everything is different. That's why we have what you call a cybersecurity risk management framework, which is first we have to identify what we are trying to protect before starting protecting. And like when you go to the doctor, he needs to check you first to know what is your case in order to give you medicine. So when it comes to cybersecurity, first we need to identify what we are trying to protect. Then we need to protect it. Then we need to set a monitoring tools in order to detect when we are under attack. Then we need to respond, then we need to recover. So there is a continuous process that we need to proceed in it on a daily basis. And there should be, let's say, policies and procedures, rules and regulations to know, let's say, when we are under attack, what is your role, what is my role? Because we all know, let's say, if there is a certain fire in the building, everyone will start running. If there is no, let's say, written documentation on what is your role and what is my role, nobody will know, and everyone will be panicked, and everyone will start running. So that's why we always convince companies that don't let perfection be the enemy of better than before. Because again, anybody can go inside your house and break your door and go inside and steal your house. Okay, it can happen. But does this mean that we will sleep while keeping the door open? No, for sure. We need to lock it and try to make it the safest possible and to enhance our security. Yeah, because again, I always give this example. For the hacker, he's investing time, and for him, time is money in order to hack your system. So if it will take him, let's say, a few hours to hack your system, it's so easy for him. If it will take him a few days, it will be more difficult. If it will take him weeks, okay, I will not hack the system anymore. It's too complicated.
The COVID-19 pandemic helped with this. I mean, in a way, it catapulted the whole digitalization of even like to the highest level. Now, overnight, the entire planet transited into remote work. So using online collaborative tools, moderating entire operations remotely, and suddenly the need for storage, analysis, data sharing became like an emergency, again, overnight. But along with that came malware, ransomware, hacking, cracking, and so many other forms of cyber breaches. This increased vulnerability of commercial and financial data, in a way, accelerated the implementation of cybersecurity measures, made it a bit more convincing. So, for example, if you take from April to the end of June, more than 2.5 million phishing attacks were detected across the Middle East region. What do you think makes this region more prone to cyber attacks, especially during a pandemic?
What COVID-19 made it clear here, especially in this region, is that lots of companies, they don't invest on their people. They invest in technologies, they invest in latest updates, latest firewall, latest systems, and so on, maybe, but they don't invest in people. And when it comes to cybersecurity, it is as much equal as to have a strong people, well-trained and well-aware people of all the cybersecurity risks, in addition to investing to technology. It has the same level. Because as you mentioned, when we're talking about phishing emails, it's targeting the individuals. It's not when I'm going to hack a certain system or infrastructure, I don't try to hack the biggest firewall and the biggest, cybersecurity protection they have in the system. I will try to hack the weakest point in this system, which is the human resource, which is the personnel that are working in the system. And here, the debate between the CFO and the CEO. So, for example, we should invest in our team. What if they left? But what if they stayed? Okay. So what happened now after COVID-19 and remote work is that basically we used to have, let's say, a closed system inside the company where all PCs are protected from internally. No one can put a USB inside his laptop or whatever. We have secure internet. All our data are secure in our servers. Nobody can access our data from outside our location, and so on and so on. Then COVID-19 came. Everything changed. So when we're talking about remote work, we are talking about people working from their mobile or laptop from anywhere. So maybe they are jumping from an airplane and they are working. Okay. So this created several risks. One of them was, for example, sometimes you have very confidential data that you don't need to have to give access to those data from outside, from the internet. But nowadays you have to, because again, if you don't give access to this data through the internet, nobody from your employee will have access to it because they are working remotely. And since you open those data to the internet, then you expose those data for a public risk. This is number one. Number two, when we're talking about phishing emails and phishing links and whatever, I will give you a very funny example. It happened. I was in a seminar for the cybersecurity consultant for President Barack Obama between 2012 and 2016. He told us a case where the White House was under attack. So they did analysis and they knew that the attack initiated from inside, not from outside, because of human mistakes. So what they did is that they did what you call a phishing test. They sent a phishing email to test how their employee will respond to the phishing email. And listen, here we are not talking about the region here. We are talking about 2,000 employees in the White House, where they should be all expert, aware, and so on. So they sent them a phishing email. Inside this email they wrote, please don't click on this link. And they put a phishing link. And guess what? 5% out of the 2,000, they already click on this link. Yeah, and here I want to mention another example. 2 weeks back, we were in a small cybersecurity conference for top executives in cybersecurity. I'm not talking about CEOs. I'm talking about a CIO, CISO, and so on, CTOs, and so on. So one of them was saying that me on a personal level, I was subject to click on a phishing link and phishing email. Why? Because we all know that most of our work nowadays, we are working on mobiles. We are working on smartphones with a small screen where you can, by mistake, click on a certain link instead of clicking on something else. This is number one. And sometimes lots of people, they are answering emails and replying and working while driving or while playing with the kids and so on. So by any means, you can click on any link by mistake and make the whole damage. So that's what made the phishing email very critical nowadays. And especially that due to COVID-19 and so on, people, they decrease their investment in training and awareness and so on. And we all know the effectiveness of training online is not the same as the live training and physical training. So that's why the damage is becoming so big.
And I mean, if we want to kind of wrap this one up by giving or empowering, the finance and accounting sector, I have a dual question for you. So the regional cybersecurity market is becoming very competitive, and it consists of a lot of major players, some of which have been homegrown, some of which have come over from Western markets, offering cybersecurity services. So my question here is, first of all, in your experience, must there be a dedicated function within private organizations or even government that are purely dedicated to cybersecurity solutions and prevention beyond the IT? So that's one fold. And then the second part of it, how do finance and accounting professionals who are definitely involved in this process because of the financial implications of data as well being the highest risk, how do they go about searching and actually recruiting the right partners? And what should they be looking for in terms of track record, capabilities, and services and solutions being offered?
Let me be clear. Regarding the first question, when it comes to cybersecurity, the traditional way that cybersecurity was part and under the IT is totally wrong. And now we can see that most of the, let's say, especially in banking sectors, the cybersecurity team is either under the risk department or a dedicated department under the CEO directly. So it's really now the role of the people that are related to cybersecurity is very important, because you cannot put the cybersecurity team or any cybersecurity expert under the IT department, because he should be auditing the IT team. Like, for example, like we are putting the senior audit under the accounting and finance team. It cannot happen like this. You need to give power for a certain people to be, let's say, under, this department or directly under the CEO in order to be able to audit and govern all the solutions done and implemented by the IT. This is number one. Number two, regarding for the finance and accounting team, in order to know which parties to deal with and so on. I want also to be very frank about what is happening currently in the region here. What is happening nowadays when it comes to cybersecurity companies that sell solutions, it's kind of unfair competition. Why? because when it comes to tenders, lots of government entities or private entities or whatever, they don't have the technical know-how to write technical requirements for tender. And this is very critical. Why? Because actually they don't know what they want. All they know that we have, let's say, security breaches, we have problems, we have concerns, and we have so on. We need someone to provide a solution, but we cannot write technical requirements in order to say we need something for let's say everything related to the application. We need something for the hardware. We need whatever.
But wouldn't that then be part of a kind of audit of the systems in question by a cybersecurity specialist, for example, and then they would then make the list of solutions required?
Actually, this is how it should go. But what is actually happening is the following: they will go to a certain company that has connection to it. Hello, X company, please come and write me the technical requirement. So whenever a company comes and writes the technical requirement, they write it and shape it and customize it to fit only their company. So they will say, for example, I need someone who is 173 centimeters, bald, his first name is Roland, Najem, and so on. So by all means, it's going to be to fit only this company. It will not fit any other company. So all other companies will be, let's say, disqualified, and only this company will win the tender. And this is very critical. And here we are seeing several companies in the region. They are playing kind of monopoly because they have, let's say, a dedicated solution for a specific problem when it comes to cybersecurity, and all those standards are written based on this issue. So this is number one. What we need to clarify at this point that, again, there is no solution fits all. And cybersecurity is a continuous process. So we cannot, let's say, for example, if let's say this company took X solution from this company, and this solution worked very well and so on, so I can take the same solution and implement it on my own. We need to do like exactly what you said, Ruba. We need to set what are our requirements, what are our needs, who are our team, what type of training and education and awareness we should have for our team, what type of data we need to protect. So I will give you one quick example and last example. Let's say if you have a university website, okay, this university website, it can, for example, it can go down for, let's say, 1 hour or 2 hours for maintenance purpose or whatever in order to do something. But let's say if you are talking about bank account, bank website, you cannot take down the website of the bank. So your main priority for a website for a bank is that to keep it live 24/7 with zero downtime, because people will think lots of time why the website is down, maybe they are under attack, my money is not safe, and so on and so on and so on. So your main priority when you are talking about banking and so on is security, not taking anything down, and so on and so on. While, for example, in let's say university website, it's okay, it's fine if the website go down for 1 hour or 2 hours or whatever. So there are different priorities based on different industries, different aspects, and so on. So that's why what is good for you, what is the strategy that fits you, does not fit me. So this is very important.
No, I mean, it's also amazing to see, like, despite the very and highly advanced kind of state of digital penetration in this region, there's still so much education to be done. And so I guess, you have your work cut out for you, Roland. You have a lot of work to do.
Actually, this is what we are doing, and mainly, again, when it comes to also training and education awareness, we differentiate between two things. We have the technical training for the technical teams that they are, for example, the IT team, the cybersecurity team, and so on and so on. But still, we have awareness training and the basic technical awareness for everybody in the company, from maybe the data entry person till the CEO. They should all know, for example, what you should, if you can click on this link or no, how to protect your password, how to protect, because there are common mistakes that are still now, they are being done by everyone. For example, I don't want to call stupid mistakes, but for example, like password, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. They will write their password on a note on their mobile and so on. They will use the same password across Facebook, Instagram, personal email, business email, and so on. Because, okay, I can't remember all the passwords. They write password like their birthday date or their marriage date and so on, which is now very easy to guess and very easy to know. And it will be very critical for the organization and for them on a personal level.
This has been Count Me In, IMA's podcast, providing you with the latest perspectives of thought leaders from the accounting and finance profession. If you like what you heard and you'd like to be counted in for more relevant accounting and finance education, visit IMA's website at www.imanet.org.